Are we live? Okay. So do a 3, 2, 1, and we're live, and then I'll do an introduction, and then we can take. Are we live? Okay. So do a 3, 2, 1, and we're live, and then I'll do an introduction, and then we can take. Are we live? Okay.
Yeah, we
Good
realize.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to week 2 of Indian Super GT. It's where we put India's best Gran Turismo racers and best gamers against each other. Last week we had some great racing. We're back again this week. It's not the weekend, it's middle of the week, but we see some super enthusiasm from the drivers. And most of the guys who qualified again are pretty much the same as the guys who made it last week. Of course, the winners, the top 3, get an automatic qualification for this week, and then we take another 10 drivers who then make it through for the races this weekend. And with me in the studio today, we have Arman Ibrahim and India's young talent Sohil Shah.
Hi. Yeah, so we are on GT Sport today and tomorrow, and we're running iRacing Saturday, Sunday, and we have a pretty long action-packed weekend ahead of us.
Yeah, lots of action, and Sohil's not driving for a change, so we've put him over here for
Yeah.
his expert comments. But it should be a fun race, actually. Sohil, what do you think? We've got a mix of cars. I can see an Audi on the screen right now. We saw a Nissan, we saw a Supra. So everybody's trying their luck with different machines. But which one do you think is going to come out on top on a twisty circuit like this?
Not too sure right now. Obviously, I haven't played the game, but I think that on a track like this where there are too many corners with medium to long straights, a car that has a lot of turning capabilities on its own, such as the Nissan, might be able to come out on top over here.
That's an interesting point of view. Yeah, the Nissan, but it's a big front-engine car, so usually not the easiest to drive. But we've seen in this game that the Nissan is just far superior than any other car, and it's also the Supra. So the Japanese cars are really acing it in the game compared to the other cars.
Yeah.
But as far as the drivers go, we've seen all of them participate in GT before. They're all what we call GT experts. So guys like Akshay Gupta, Aditya Raghav, Tariq Rahman, they've been playing GT for the longest time. And these guys were also part of the GT Academy. So that means they bring in a lot of experience with them, and it definitely makes for some great racing.
Yeah, definitely. We also have a few real life drivers also on the grid. We have Rupesh Shivakumar, Ishan Dodiwala, Mohammad Ryan. So it'll be interesting to see what these guys can also bring onto the table against the pros or against the gamers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I tried my hand at this game for the first time today, and I can tell you it's not easy. It's a crazy driving style. I really don't know how these guys do it, but I think I'll find it. There must be some trick to it, but
Yeah.
it's really not easy to be quick. It's literally easier in a real car than it is in one of these.
Yeah, practice makes perfect, right?
Practice makes perfect. Yeah, it's a completely different driving style. In fact, I took the car that I'm used to. I drove around in the Audi, but it just there's something missing. I just don't know what it is as yet, but I'm sure I'll find it.
Yeah, maybe make the small tweak in the setup that might help you out a little bit, something like that. And obviously, in real life, when you drive, when you eventually got to the GT3 cars, when you got to the point where you're gonna be driving the Audi, you had a lot of experience before that. So that also builds up into your expectations on how quick you're gonna be on the track in those cars. But then, like you said, you just started out today, so it's probably expected you to maybe not be there, but at least be close is what we would have expected, and I think that's what we saw.
Yeah, I guess it takes time. I guess it's like real life. Everything just takes time. So
Yeah.
I thought I was pretty good. I actually felt really good in the car, but for some reason I was just struggling.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, it looks like we're about to begin qualifying soon. We're just waiting for the track to go green. The drivers are just entering the lobby as well. So let's give them a couple of minutes, and we should be on again.
Yeah, we should. And as you can see, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Any thoughts as to why we have gone with 5 o'clock in the morning for now?
because these guys are lazy guys and they don't like to wake up, so we thought we'll wake them up early morning. Whatever. No particular reason. I mean, just to mix things up a little bit, it makes visibility for the drivers a little bit difficult. Obviously, through the cameras, we can see quite well, but it makes it a bit more challenging for the drivers. So this means that their circuit knowledge then comes into play. So it's going to be interesting, really, who's been spending more time around the circuit, and that's going to show in qualifying.
Definitely. And qualifying is also just 10 minutes, so that means that with the lap over here being about 1 minute 35 seconds long ish, these guys are not going to have too many laps on their hand as well. So it's going to be, challenge on on their minds as well as as to time constraints.
Yeah. Soil, I don't think anyone can hear us on the stream. There's a weird noise. Have you checked it on Twitch?
On Twitch, I'm not too sure. I'm just going to be checking that now.
Guys, I'm back. Sorry, I was just.
Arman's back.
Yep. Hi.
What's up? Yeah. No, I think are we live?
Are we live?
Yeah, we are live.
What happened to you? Did you get dropped?
Aman, is he still here?
I'm here.
Yeah. All right, we're back. Yeah, the stream is on. We're going to begin qualifying
is he
soon. I
still
can see it on Twitch.
Yeah.
All right, we're back. Yeah, the stream is on. So Arman, what do you think? What are your thoughts for the race?
I mean, I was following you in practice. Man, these guys are quick they're quick here. I just managed to get my hands on the game. It's almost downloaded. I'm gonna spend the night playing it, so I can figure out how these guys are so quick here, and just because we've been watching them race for the last couple of weekends. In practice, the times were super close. As you can see, the whole grid was within a second. And if anything, just to go by, last week was anything to go by. I mean, how exciting it was
just to go by
watching them go, from first to sixth or from sixth to first within the span of a couple of corners. So it had us at the edge of our seats, really, and I think we're in for another cracker, really. I mean, it's going to be just a couple of entertaining races that we're in for.
Yeah, it's going to be good fun. Just looks like we're still waiting for a few guys to enter the lobby, and as soon as they're all in, we'd be ready to go.
Yeah, I think some drivers might have a little bit of an issue, as you just see the host just leave the session for now and try to figure out as to what's going on on the session.
Yeah, technology strikes again.
Yeah.
We see this quite often actually happening in games, particularly when we actually have to go live. The technology decides to fail us, but doesn't seem uncommon at all.
Yeah, I think it's happened to us a couple of times previously as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
it's based, I think it's also because we're all at home. I mean, obviously the servers are quite. I mean, the internet's being consumed quite a bit. So these small little niggles are actually expected, but nevertheless, I mean, there's no harm. I mean, we're just running a little bit late. And I think the whole point is just to make sure that everyone has that equal opportunity and they don't miss out, after qualifying for these two races.
Yeah, we saw last week a few guys unfortunately missed out. So we did decide that this week we'll run a slightly smaller grid. This kind of gives everybody the opportunity to make it onto the lobby. So instead of running 15 cars like we did last week, we're running 12 this week. So it's going to be still some tight racing. We saw last time it was almost like a Moto3 race. It's crazy to watch.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I believe the
drivers complained about the slipstream setting, so we had to change it a little bit. It's not going to be that exciting, but
yeah, that's exactly what I was asking.
I was looking forward to that. I was looking forward to that slipstream setting though, because as a spectator, it was phenomenal.
It was, but what can you do? Sometimes the driver also has to say.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I was going to ask you guys. I'm just going to say that what difference is there in the slipstream settings, because I believe it was on high or something last time.
Yeah, it was on strong actually, and there's another option that says real, so which means it's more realistic. And strong is almost like in a GT car if you've got DRS. So I guess when Formula One decided to throw DRS in their cars, no one really complained. But anyway, I
Yeah, but
guess
then they had their own rules
When
and
the organizer sets the
regulations.
rules, they just have to shut up and drive, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so let's see what they do with the real setting. We will be starting qualifying soon. As we can see, there are people getting impatient already, asking if they can get on track. Most of them seem to be in the lobby, and it's a 10-minute qualifying session, followed by a 7-lap race. And then we have another 10-minute qualifying session, followed by a 10-lap race. So we've got 2 races here today. We've got 2 races tomorrow at the same time, 10 o'clock. So if you are watching now, we'd love to see you back tomorrow as well. But we've got somebody on YouTube, a big fan of Aditya Patnaik, Ojas Surve. He says, why don't we talk about Aditya Patnaik? I mean, Aditya's been on Formula One with us, he's been on GT with us, and he's been extremely competitive over the last 3 weekends.
He was in X1
So,
with us. So, I mean, he's been with us for a year now. I mean, we've been seeing Altya for a year now, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. And also, we've got Amit who's joined. I think Amit is bored today. So, Amit has joined the YouTube chat. He says, hello, guys. Hello, Amit. You should go practice because you have a tough race coming up this weekend.
Are the iRacing servers still down, Amit?
No, the iRacing servers are back up, and I think you should go and start practicing with the other drivers right now. I believe they have a session going on.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting weekend. That's why we've decided to do GT today and tomorrow to have 4 days of action-packed racing rather than just 2. And it also kind of eases the stress on us as organizers, because otherwise, post-race, I'm sure you guys are also used to it. We've got these complaints coming from drivers saying, he hit me from here and he hit me from there. And we've got videos coming in from everyone. So it's a lot to deal with. This kind of actually makes it a bit easier. But it looks like we're in the pit lane now. I hope the pit lane bug that we had last week has been sorted out. I don't think you saw it, Sohail.
I think all 12 drivers did join the session now. So I think that's what they're doing right now. There you go. You have all the 30 drivers on the grid.
To my understanding, I think we've got 11 drivers for the session. I think we're going ahead. I think we've got the clearance to go ahead. And we should be starting qualifying soon.
Yeah, you can see
as we speak,
5 seconds.
the ancient pleb Aditya Raghav, it says, has started qualifier, which means he should be getting on track.
There you go.
There you go. This means that the session begins now. So we are on board with the ancient pleb. This is Aditya Raghav, one of the fastest drivers we've seen. He didn't win the championship last week, unfortunately. He was caught out by the entire slipstream fiasco. But somebody who really gained from that was Akshay Gupta. And he won 3 races out of the 4 last week. Unbelievable job by him. Literally came out of nowhere and managed to pull it off.
I mean, Akshay was good. Akshay even won a race on Saturday, and then ended Saturday on a very strong note, and then didn't qualify as strongly on Sunday, but then dominated the races. I mean, as we saw how strong slipstreaming was, and how the field was just being mixed back and forth. After a couple of laps, he just got into a rhythm and he was gone. He got out of the slipstream and he was gone for both races. So very consistent there on Sunday.
Yeah, super consistent. Especially the way he just took off in the last race, the race 4 of last week. Yeah. He seems to be very comfortable in the Nissan. He keeps jumping back into it, while the other guys seem to play around a bit with the car they use. I've only seen Akshay and Aditya Raghav are just sticking to their 2 cars week in, week out, whereas Ravi, who we're watching right now, has been in a bunch of different cars over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, as you guys did touch up on the point with the slipstream being in strong effect, and the other driver, I don't exactly remember the name, did pull away in race 4, but I want to know that does qualifying make a big difference does the slipstream make a lot of difference in this qualifying? I want to know if it's on or off, if it's going to make any difference on the driver's lap times, something that could make it more interesting.
So the slipstream is set to real, which means it does come into effect for qualifying as well. So anybody who does have a bit of a toe, I'm sure, stands to gain. There's no option like we have in some games where there's ghosting for qualifying. Here they're actually tailing each other. If they make contact in qualifying, they end up bumping into each other. So, oh, that was a great shot there. You can really see the speed of these cars going up the hill here.
Yeah, you can really see that the
So
Audi is a bit loose over here as well.
Yeah, it is, and surprisingly though, because Audi is actually one of the most stable cars usually, but seems to be twitching around a bit over here. But it's a great circuit to watch. There's a lot of, you see that little bit of a jump there. There's a lot of elevation change here, and for those of you who are watching, this is not a real life circuit. This is a GT fantasy circuit as they like to call it. So it's going to provide for some great racing.
But like most circuits in Japan, I mean, or around Japan, they're all so scenic, you know. And I think what Gran Turismo has done is taken, I think, the best of each circuit and put them together to make a few of the concept circuits that you like, which look really fascinating. I mean, the background is phenomenal and really nice, very flowing layout as well.
Yeah, and we're watching here Ishan Dodiwala, who's one of the race drivers on the field. Ishan also got onto this game not too long ago, so he's also getting to grips with what it's like to be driving a video game against some of the best gamers in the country.
Yeah, as you
Along
know.
with him, we've got Ryan, and we've got, as we mentioned before, Rupesh. But I don't seem to find Rupesh on the list here.
Yeah, I think he's
there he
P9
is.
right now.
He's
there,
P9,
he's
there
there.
he is, yeah.
Rupesh is the one who slowly builds up to it. You'll see him up towards the sharp end by the end of qualifying. He's someone who just creeps up eventually.
Yeah, he does. Even in real life, he's famous for that. But it's great to watch how these guys do the same thing in the game and in real life.
At the very last minute, we were trying to get another race driver to come in, Anandit Reddy, but unfortunately, I think it was too late. But I think we'll have him in tomorrow's session, so that should be fun as well. But it's good that I think both with the PlayStation and with what we have the weekend with iRacing, we started to have a good mix of racing drivers and gamers, even in Gran Turismo Sport. I know you and me have just picked up the game, so guys, give us a couple of days to get used to it. And then I think we'll probably give a hand, take a hand as well.
Yeah, you may see us
And
next
see
week. You
what
may
we
see
can
us.
May.
And yeah, we can.
If little competitive.
Yeah, it's an interesting game to try and get the hang of, that's for sure. I've played some video games before, and this one's a bit interesting. But the graphics are great. So, but I'm sure there's a driving style. I think I'll check out some tutorials online. I'm sure there's a driving style too. As we are, I think, now halfway through qualifying, the standings right now are Aditya Raghav on top.
Yeah, these guys have already started to set a lot of fast lap times in the session. We do have Ancient Pleb in P1 with a 1 minute 33.9, with Shami not too far behind, about just 2.5 tenths behind. So this will get very interesting as they get closer to the end of qualifying, and it should start getting closer.
The ancient player, that's Aditya. He's very strong in qualifying on setting a stonker of a lap time. Even last weekend, he was even on Sunday. Last Sunday, he was on pole for both races, I think. So yeah, qualifying seems to be his strong point. Just hope he can manage for the race as well.
Yeah, he needs to. The most important thing during the race from a driver is not the pace, it's always the consistency of the driver that makes him win races. That is something that is very important in here, so definitely that will make a difference. As you see, Glenn is right now spacing himself out to the drivers in front to get a clean lap in, as Aditya Patnaik just enters the pits.
Yeah, I think Glenn has a good gap now to get a good clean lap. He's back in the Nissan again this week.
Yeah.
We saw he was really quick last week, but he actually played around a bit to try and find which car he was comfortable in. But looks like he's comfortable in the Nissan, even on a twisty circuit like this. But still as it stands, we've got Aditya Raghav on top, we've got Shamim in second, we've got Ravi in third. Shamim and Ravi are actually best of friends, they work together. It's good to see them second and third. Shamim, interestingly, didn't make it through the qualifiers last week, and he was really upset about it. But glad to see him here this week.
I was just gonna say that, I mean, he was so upset last week of I think he missed out by less than a tenth, and he was so disappointed by that. It's good to see him up in the sharp end this time. A good comeback there by Shams. We definitely know what he's done and spent the whole week doing there.
Yeah, he clearly has, and I can imagine he didn't have much else to do because he's a photographer. So, but I guess it's the same with all of us. And in the meantime, looking at Tariq, Tariq couldn't make it last week, even though he qualified. But right now, he doesn't seem to have set a lap. He's running around the track in the 911 RSR, and so is Aditya Patnaik, just the two of them. And it would be interesting to see. I think he's been having trouble with track limits. I'm not sure exactly why he hasn't set a lap, but pretty sure he'll put something in soon. We're watching him right now in that beautiful looking Porsche. He's on his outlap, so he's still got a while to go before he actually puts a time in. I think we're
just to let the viewers know, basically if any penalties are given, for example for track limits and so on, it is from the game itself. The game has a set of rules that are followed, and these sort of basic infringements come in from the game itself.
Yeah, the game itself knows when somebody has exceeded track limits, and it's usually quite strict with it, because I was trying a little earlier on. I tried my luck with a few corners, but I didn't make it. You watch Tariq over here. Interesting move there. He went nice and wide to try and get a good run to start his lap. The run down to the first corner after the start-finish line really isn't that long, so I wonder really if there's really that much to gain. But interesting strategy there by him. Watching him keep it nice and tight through turn one. Very important to get a good exit here, because it's all uphill and absolutely flat out for the S's here. It's a great sequence of corners. I absolutely enjoyed it when I tried my hand on it just a few minutes ago. But nice and smooth there from Tariq, now coming downhill for the long left-hander. Again, this one really, really fast. I wasn't sure whether you have to lift off or keep your foot flat, but as you can see, he's got it nice and clean through the long left-hander, up the hill and then down for the chicane. The chicane's also really tricky because it's got some very big curves, but because you come downhill, it's not easy to slow the car down. That
there, you see that
actually
again.
Landed him. That could land him in trouble there.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything on the screen. The qualifying session is done, but let's see if he manages to put a lap in. But it was looking pretty good till there.
Very clean and controlled aggression from Tariq, but just a little bit might, like you said, land him in trouble, and we'll have to see what happens by the end of the lap. But up to now, I mean, it's been a very clean lap, a very tidy, I'd say.
Yeah, except for that bit of a cut. But I did do that earlier on today when I tried my hand at it, and I got a penalty. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't get penalized for that. But let's see, he's coming down to the line. Qualifying is done. He's still P12. Does he get a time in? Yes, he does. And that moves him up to P7. 134.92. And this looks like this could be the grid, and this is the end of the session. And look who's on pole. It's last week's champion. It's Akshay Gupta on pole position.
Well, we said qualifying wasn't his strong suit, but clearly he's worked on that.
But then we've got Ravi and Shamim not too far behind, and Aditya Raghav, who was blisteringly quick in the past, is in fourth place, and it's super close between the guys on top. There's not much between them. There's only 3 tenths between the top 4. We're done with qualifying now. We will be starting race 1 very soon. So as we speak, as everyone finishes their laps, they will be lining up on the grid. We've got, once again, Akshay Gupta on pole position. We've got Ravi Kiran in second. We've got Shamim in third, and Aditya Raghav in fourth. It's going to be a great race. And the cars are on the grid. Everybody's lined up. Looks like they're ready to go. The light should be going off any second now, so everybody keep your eyes open. All right, focusing on Akshay Gupta now. I think all the drivers doing their final setup in the car. Just waiting for the lights to go out. And we're green, and the race is off. This is the first race of the week, ladies and gentlemen. But great start there by Ravi Kiran. And Shamim is sticking to the back of Ravi Kiran to make it count. Ooh, push Akshay Gupta a little bit wide there going through turn one. But on the exit of turn one, we've got Ravi, followed by Shamim, followed by Akshay Gupta. Great start there, clean start by everybody. Everybody through, going up the hill through the S's. And it looks like it's going to turn out to be a great race. Shamim is giving Ravi a fight going down the hill over here. The fast left-hander, it's really tough to make a move here because it's a really, really fast corner. But Shamim is trying his luck. He's in the really nimble Supra. The Supra is fast, it's nimble. The Nissan is a handful to drive compared to the Supra. But while we speak, we've got Aditya trying to make a move down. Shamim on the inside. Ooh, and it was a tough one there, but he couldn't make it stick. And in all this, Ravi's pulling a gap in front. Ravi seems to have extended his lead actually quite a bit. Shamim keeping his eyes in the mirror, watching Aditya behind him, who's got Akshay behind him and Glenn behind Akshay. And it's a close battle for second place. In the meantime, Ravi's managing to stretch his legs. Great circuit actually here again for some racing. I would love to see more circuits like this in real life. First race as well with us.
There's a big mistake by the Skyline.
I think that's is that Akshay or is that Glenn? Well, it's a great battle here between the two Nissans, and we've got Tariq just waiting to pick up the pieces right behind them as well. It's really going to be interesting to see who is that, Akshay Gupta or is that Glenn? That was Akshay actually getting it a bit sideways, and Glenn's waiting there to pick up the pieces. But in the meantime, Ravi's still pulling his gap up in front. We've got Shamim still in second. Tariq looks like he's made his move there. Can he make it stick? And he has. Tariq's ahead of Akshay now. And no, it's Glenn actually. Akshay is still ahead of Tariq. But Tariq does have some work to do once he gets ahead of Akshay. He's got a gap to catch up with Aditya Raghav, and the guys in front are super quick, so it's not going to be easy to catch them. There's a lone Mercedes in the field. I think that's Ankur. Interesting choice of car. You don't see many people using it in this game. But I guess whatever floats your boat, really. You see a lot of Nissans. You see plenty of Supras. And while we say that, we see Ravi in the Nissan extending his lead, stretching his legs. His good buddy Shamim, not too far behind, 2 seconds behind him, also extending his lead from Aditya Raghav. These two guys really seem to have found some pace over the week. I think they've been
and they're working
speaking to each other.
I think they've just been coordinating with each other and just pushing one another, and they've really spent the week practicing, because they've come here coordinated and they've broken away from the pack.
Looks like a bit of teamwork, these two boys.
Yeah.
But good job, I have to say, because last week Ravi didn't have it easy. Shamim didn't make it into the final race, and now look at the two of them just flying away in front.
Fantastic comeback. I mean, kudos to them. Let's hope they can manage to hold it there. They look quite comfortable, really. But like you were talking about the cars, each one of their own. These guys have been practicing quite a lot, and I guess each one of them has got comfortable with. At least most of them I've seen that they've got comfortable with one brand, and they've stuck to that. As we see the first guy going to the pits there, I think that was Akshay, if I'm not wrong. who decided
Yeah,
to
I
take his
think
pit stop early.
that is Akshay. But you've got Glenn and Tariq here going
Yeah.
door to door going into turn one. Glenn isn't letting him have it easy. I did think Tariq would get ahead of them and try and catch up with the group in front, but no, thank you, Glenn says.
That Porsche just disappears behind the GTR. You just can't see it, you know.
Yeah, it's surprising that a Porsche is really small. But because the GTR is massive, it's like a moving wall on the track.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I
looks like
think he's
Glenn
gone
made a
wide.
mistake there.
Has he
He's
gone
gone
wide?
wide, yeah.
He's gone wide.
He has.
Where's
Oh
Glenn?
no.
Oh, he's just come back. He's gone. A big
We
mistake
noticed
there.
that actually with Glenn.
Big
He made a
mistake.
few mistakes last week also that ruined his race. And even when he was doing a good job. But anyway, now
Well,
he's
that
got
miss.
Rupesh to deal with.
Yeah, the mistakes costed him to like around 3 positions. He went from P4 to P7. But then again, Rupesh does have a 2.5 second penalty, which we did see when we were on board with him. And it'll be interesting to see what happens once he clears this penalty. Is Glenn able to get back ahead of him or not?
Yeah, I think he should be able to because it's a very weird system in this game. Rupesh has to back off to be able to clear his penalty, and 2.5 seconds a lot for him to back off. So it's going to give Glenn a free road to go in front.
Yeah,
But I think Rupesh is going to try and do it when he gets the slipstream. Let's see. It's going to be an interesting strategy.
Maybe on his in lap for his pit stop, or he's probably gonna time it. Or try and strategize it basically, depending on when the pit stop is gonna be.
Yeah, obviously, and if he even tries to defend from Glenn, he will be losing time there. So I don't know if game would consider that, but that could be another strategy to probably slow down in some corners. But as you see, he's just coming to the pits, and his penalty remains. And Glenn has got ahead of him in the pit lane, so that's interesting.
Oh, and that puts Ankur in the lead. We just saw some great shots in the pit. Actually, I wish real pit stops would look that great. Usually they're a bit more chaotic than that, but it looks really cool in the game. So we got the Mercedes in the lead, but he still has to make his stop.
Yeah, but coming to
Ravi's out of the pit, but in second place. So I think Ravi is clear. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes, it's good for him.
Yeah,
he had a very comfortable gap going in. I think even Shami had opened up a decent amount of a buffer, to P3. So I think the two of them really need to just find the rhythm after the pit stop, and they should we have safeguarded their positions.
Yeah, they should. Sohail, have you played this game before?
I'm not really. I haven't played this game, so that's why I had this question in my mind. Looking at this, we just looked at the Supra and the Mercedes right now, and you really see the differences in the diffuser sizes at the back of the car. Does that make any difference in the game? Is my question, because I'm pretty sure you guys have at least tried the game once.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to try. I did try the Mercedes today in the game, and I also tried the Supra. And what was interesting between the two cars that the Supra is really, really planted. And when you're going into a corner on the brakes, the tail just stays with you. It doesn't step out that easily.
Yep.
The Mercedes, on the other hand, is very twitchy. Especially when you're going into the corner on the brakes and you're trying to trail brake. It's so easy to lose the rear of the car.
Front
so I guess the
engine,
diffuser
front
does
engine.
play a role there. Yeah, and it is the front engine, but I guess the diffuser also plays a big role there. The aero matters, doesn't it? But we're watching Akshay trying everything he can to try and get ahead of Ansya Patnaik. We saw him do these things last week as well.
That was an interesting attempt.
That was an interesting attempt. But we saw him do this last week. We saw him have this.
He pulled it off last
week. He's come back again. He's come back again on the inside this time.
He's
just muscling his way through.
Yeah, he's using the weight of the GTR to really gain his ground here.
Yeah, he's muscling his way around.
I'm coming through. You do whatever the hell you like, but I'm going.
Yeah, elbows out, all fully, completely out. But just look at him. He's holding on for dear life in that car. That's great stuff there.
Yeah, I hope that the driver, I'm pretty sure as a driver, I would hope at this point. Oh, they touched?
Tit for tat. He basically again just opened the steering wheel out.
Interesting WhatsApp conversations post this race. I'm looking forward to this. But we're watching Ankur here. I'm pretty sure he's going to pit soon because he hasn't yet made his stop. I'm not sure what he's waiting for because they're about to start the last lap. Has he made his stop? Did he make it early on?
I'm not too sure. I don't think we saw that.
I mean, he is running in second though, so if he has, that would be a great call.
Yeah, if he did make his stop earlier,
Where
must be earlier.
I'd like to know where is Shamim? How we've lost him
Shamim's in
somewhere.
fourth. We
So
did
he's
see.
obviously lost time at some point during the pit stops, because before the pit stops he was running a comfortable second,
He
and
was in
now
second after the pit stop as well. We saw Aditya Raghav closing in on him, but I think when they got a bit close to each other, something must have happened.
right.
Yeah,
That Aditya Raghav's made his way up.
yeah.
Oh, we see the Mercedes has actually dropped down to third now. Shamim's losing concentration. I think he needs some endurance racing. But look here, we see Aditya who's gone ahead of the Mercedes of Ankur. Not sure what happened there because Ankur seemed to have a good gap the last time we looked.
Yeah, but by the looks of it, either Mercedes is losing a bit of concentration with like Shamim, because he has lost out 1.5 seconds to Ancient Pleb, and so has Shamim gained 1.5 seconds on him. So either he's missed out on the pit stop and is running on pretty degraded tires, which could explain that, or he's just trying to lose some concentration towards the end now.
Yeah, probably. But here we are watching Ravi Kiran coming through the last few corners. The last corner there.
He
About to
finally
get the
has it.
win. The first win for Ravi in the last couple of weeks. He got so close last week, but he didn't win. But great job by Ravi Kiran here to win the first race of the
Yeah,
weekend.
and
followed
Shamim
by
gets P3
Aditya
on the
Raghav and
line.
Shamim.
Yeah, Aditya has been ever so consistent on the podium, always competitive, taking pole position, whatnot, last weekend, but obviously being competitive here and finally comes in again to score some valid points. But yes, I mean, kudos to Ravi, man. He fought really hard last week, and this week it's paid off. He was so close yet so far last week, and great to have him get his first win here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, super job by Ravi. And great job by Shamim to bring it and put the car on the podium
Yeah.
after not making it last week.
Both,
Yeah.
both our photographers have done a fantastic job. Great comeback this week. Working well as teammates as well.
Yeah, but I want to know what happened to Ryan, because I believe he was in the session. He did qualify, and he's not in the session anymore. So I really want to know what exactly happened to him, because you can see
Yeah,
on the
maybe
left
he's
hand
had
side
some
connection issues. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
connectivity issues.
Yeah,
we
He
saw
probably
we
got
saw
kicked
we
from
saw
the
this
game.
with Formula One as well. Even when Ryan was trying to compete in Formula One, he finally did make it to the grid at the end of it. But in the beginning, again, there were some connectivity issues there. I mean, it's a common problem that we've been facing with Ryan basically over the last couple of weeks.
Oh no, you're
Yeah.
talking about a different Ryan.
Am I sorry?
Different.
Ryan.
Yeah. That was David Ryan. We've got our dear
Mohammed
friend
Ryan.
Musi's son on the grid here.
Oh,
So if he's got internet issues, we got to call his dad and blame his dad. And I hope his dad is watching this stream as well.
I was going to say, is that Rian or Ryan?
Yeah. Anyway,
Musi,
so
sort
that's
out your
race
internet,
one
Musi.
done.
I know, Musi, I know you're listening. Sort out your internet, please.
Yeah, your son's going to do a really good job as long as you give him a good internet connection. So that's race one done. Qualifying for race two is going to start very soon. Again, same format, a 10-minute qualifying, but the race is a bit longer. It's going to be a 10-lap race. Gives guys a better chance to fight, especially if they fall back early on. And I think this one's going to be a cracker as well. What do you guys think?
Yep, definitely. We did have a lot of interesting and a bit controversial overtakes, maybe the previous race, and definitely something that we can look forward to race two, because I don't think any of these drivers are going to hold back after that.
Yeah, definitely not. They all want to win. And it's these guys are pretty much the fastest gamers in the country when it comes to this game, particularly to GT. And it's really important and is a matter of pride if they win these races, because you know when you're playing against the best and you win a race, for till the next race you are the best. That's it. You're as good as your last race, and if you've beaten the best, you're pretty much.
Definitely, you always want to end up on a high. Just put that extra bit of mind pressure on the other drivers and build a little bit of more confidence inside of you. But definitely, right now we are watching qualifying, and it'll be interesting to see our previous race's winner try and put it back on pole.
Yeah, and in fact, last time it was Akshay on pole, and interestingly enough, Akshay carrying forward from his success last week managed to put it on pole this week. But unfortunately, a lot of issues in the race for him. Ended up with a penalty. He got a 15-second penalty for an incident in the race. So Not a very good first race for him. So let's see if he can make something back there. We see Aditya Patnaik, Aditya Raghav slowing down on the left. Not sure
Maybe he's
what's wrong.
planning something with the slipstream or something, trying to get back the grid, trying to get as much slipstream as possible.
It is possible. He could be waiting for one of his friends to come along because I think Ravi and Shamim are also playing the game with each other. We've got to see if that's actually happening. But you have to remember, while all of them are doing that, Akshay Gupta is just minding his own business and he was on pole last time. So it's going to be interesting to see if their slipstream strategies work.
Yeah,
And you see
definitely.
the amount of lock these guys put here. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Did you see
completely
it?
opposite to what we have in real life. We want as little lock as possible when we are trying to rotate the car so that the tire scrub less. But here you can hear the tire scrub. They are using so much lock, even through turn one, which is a very high speed corner. Just don't get it. How do
That's
they do
nuts.
that?
And you know, I thought I was putting a lot of lock on the wheel when I played a little while ago, but this is
That's
a
probably
lot
the
more than
reason
I.
why you weren't as quick as these drivers.
Yeah, I was actually lifting off the gas. Oh, and he's in the wall. I was actually lifting off the gas to get the car to turn, but these guys are just turning in the lock.
Yeah. I want to know our
Ooh,
setups. Ooh, that's a very hairy moment for Akshay there. But what
he's
I want to
having a
know
wild
is,
lap.
yeah, what I want to know here is, do we have open setups or are they fixed or something?
No, it's fixed. The setups are fixed. There's a BOP as well, which means balance of performance, which is on. Each circuit has its own balance of performance, and that's basically to even out the field. So we've got that on. We've got setups fixed. The tires are racing mediums. So we try and keep it as even as possible. We don't want too many variables in this format of racing. That really makes it interesting to watch. The only real variable is that the cars are different cars,
And
and I
also,
would love to see all of them in the same car someday.
what we also have is the fuel and tire depletion, basically, which is tire wear and obviously a lightning fuel tank. Gives them some sort of realistic feel to it. But I think it's fun to have different manufacturers. I mean, it's how we race with different manufacturers, and basically it's a BOP that balances us out over the various different circuits that we go to. I think that's why we pick
Yeah, exactly.
contrasting circuits. So to help various manufacturers perform in to their strengths and their weaknesses as well.
Yeah, and what we did last week, different, or what we've done this week different to last week is last week we went to two very different circuits, but we let the drivers choose their car for the races. So which means race one they could have had a different car, race two a different car, race three a different car, so on. But this week what we've done is while we go to two completely different circuits, the drivers aren't allowed to change cars. So they have to stay with the same car from the start of the first race earlier on today to the end of the last race later tomorrow. And that's actually going to make it interesting.
Yeah, that definitely would be.
Yeah, but then at this session again, Ryan's a bit too late in joining the session, and he has, I think, missed out on qualifying. I'm not too sure if he'll be able to join for the race, but I really hope he can, so he can finally show us what he's got under his belt.
That's really unfortunate. I really hope Ryan push your dad, man. We practice all night and make sure your internet's sorted for tomorrow. And I hope you can make it for the race today. But if not, we definitely want to see you back here tomorrow and taking part in qualifying and all the sessions that are there to offer.
Yeah, he is pretty handy in real life. I really want to see what he can do on a sim like this, and that'd be a very good comparison as to how good these gamers are on the sim.
Yeah, absolutely. Watching Aditya Raghav, super smooth, super clean. I really wonder what he does to keep it that smooth. Let's see how much lock he puts on the last corner. That's not bad, really. That's not as much lock as we saw early on. It's super smooth as well. Oh, he's coming in the pit, so quick
Yeah,
change
so
of
maybe
tires.
he's probably a bit slower through the last corner, just knowing that he's in the pit, so he didn't have to push that hard.
Possible.
Yeah, possible. So
But
it'll be
the
interesting
input,
to see.
but the input was just the initial input wouldn't normally change, and it was still quite. I mean, even though it was good lock, a good amount of lock, but the initial input was very gradual and really smooth, like Aditya mentioned, and that wouldn't really change whether he was on a hot lap or coming into pits. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
then the amount of lock could vary from the amount of speed he's carrying, so that is a variable that could be taken effect. But that comes to see only when we are on board with him next time on a hot lap.
But while we were speaking and while we were talking about Aditya Raghav, if you look at his first lap, it's a flyer. So 1 minute 33.3, which is a lot quicker than pole last time. I think pole last time was a 133.6.
No, I think it was
And it was
nine point
Akshay
nine.
Gupta on pole.
yeah, Akshay pulled the last time, but yeah, Althia's pulled it
Yeah.
out. I mean, he was quick earlier on the session, and then boom, he's found that time again here. And I don't, it's going to be difficult for the others to find that much time, But let's see.
Yeah, but right now
Another-
Akshay has not set a lap time so far. It'll be interesting to see where he would be after this lap. He is in the fourth sector as we just saw from the timing screen, so he should be completing his lap sometime soon. Yeah, there
Correct.
he
I'm going to
is.
keep my eye on the time screen. There he is, coming across the finish line. And flyer puts him up in second place.
Yeah, but he's still 4 tenths or almost half a second behind the ancient pleb. So that is something that he will have to find that time.
Oh, you see him on the limit there, but yeah, like you said, 4 tenths, and 4 tenths is quite a bit with not too much time left on the clock as well. But let's see as Altja starts another flying lap, whether he can further improve his best time.
Yeah, it'll be
See him keep
interesting
it
to see.
nice and tight going in, floats out to the middle, comes back in. Super clean line there through turn one. Watch him nice and smooth through there.
And now is when I think we should see a amount of lock he puts.
But
very-
it's very smooth on the steering wheel. Super
Yeah.
smooth there.
And again, there's
going
not a
to
lot
listen
of
up
lock
there.
as we saw on the other car previously.
Yeah. And this is a really fast corner. He does have a considerable amount of lock here, though.
That's a lot of luck for a fast
That is a lot
corner.
of lock.
That is a lot
Yeah.
of luck.
That's just
Yeah.
like pushing the front. This one's a really interesting corner. You see, he's again very smooth. Used a lot of curb on the second and third bit of the corner, but clean. I'm pretty sure he won't get penalized for that.
No, I remember when we looked at Tariq's video. I mean, he was on the car was literally on the grass where the last part of the S's, but he still got away with it on that last flying lap. But yeah, I mean, you could see Altja who's a lot more controlled by now, and actually had a foot to the curve as well. So yeah, a lot more control through the sequence at least in the Supra.
Yeah. Also, how many drivers on the grid right now on the pad or on the steering wheel? Like, how many drivers are on the pad? Is my question.
I think all these guys on the wheel. Is Ishan on his
No,
controller?
I think all on the wheel tonight. Last week we had
Whoa,
Vinod who was
that's
on the
a
controller.
rocket lap time. I think we missed it, but he did a 1 minute 33.1 there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Altja again.
Yeah.
Just getting quicker and quicker.
And he's just chilling at the
Unbelievably
side of
quick
the
lap.
track now.
I mean, we did follow him on that lap. It looked really good. I mean, it looked very clean, and I guess that's about it really. Just putting all the
Crazy
sectors
fast.
together.
It's a 6.5 tenths quicker than second place, and that's a lot.
No, it's actually more because that's 23.7 and P2 is on 25.5.
No, that's the first sector, and that's not
okay.
the best sectors. The best lap is at the end of the screen if you look at the right. So it's a 133.1. Akshay Gupta went a 133.8. We should be almost at the end of qualifying. I don't think we'll see anyone going quicker, but keep your eyes open to see if anyone does.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how
Tariq
close
also in
Akshay can
33s.
do.
Yeah, same here. I think Akshay is also not really pushing much more. We are just watching the time screens here,
think-
but
Yeah, even Akshay
shouldn't
stopped
stay the
at
same.
that.
Yeah, should stay the same. Stay the same. I don't think anyone's going for it.
It's hardly any time left on the clock. I think this is about it really. I think they've all called it, if I'm not wrong.
There's someone here setting a lap. Actually, who's that?
Oh,
Glenn.
Nice, Glenn.
Glenn's brought it up to the top 5. Glenn was further back early on, but he's brought his Nissan up there. So good job there by Glenn.
Yeah, Shami did struggle a bit this session. He was, I think, P3 previous session with a 34.3, if I'm not wrong, and that is something that he is. I don't know how close he is to that lap for now.
but
You're right. He has fallen down. He's 7th.
Where's the race one winner? I can't see him.
The race one winner, Ravi. I think Ravi is fourth.
Is he
Right now,
fourth?
we're only looking at 1, 2, 3, 7 on the grid. But once we're there, he is. Yeah, Ravi's in fourth,
Yeah.
fourth on the grid. He's a second off pole. But the race is a different ball game altogether. It's going to be interesting
It
to see
definitely is. Yeah.
what Ravi can do. Again, it's great to see three different manufacturers in the top three, and then we've got the two Nissans fourth and fifth again.
I mean,
So it
we
just
know that
goes to show.
we know the Nissans are fast starting. We've seen that over the last 2 weeks, and they use that getting off the grid, and even though they're so big, there's two monstrosities, but then they get off the grid so quickly, and just shoot through the straight really. So that they use that to their advantage on that first lap, and try to maximize it.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. And we know how aggressive Akshay can be, and he's starting P2. So he's definitely going to go for it on turn one. Unfortunately, the last race he had a 15-second penalty, but I don't know if that was because he did try something a bit too ambitious or if he was caught exceeding track limits. So we'll find out later. But we're getting ready now for race two. I think everybody should be on the grid soon. We've got 11 cars. Unfortunately, Ryan couldn't make it for this race, but hopefully he'll be back tomorrow. And we would love to see Anandit Reddy on the grid as well tomorrow, one of India's top race drivers.
Yeah, unfortunately, just too last minute for tonight, but tomorrow for sure. But he'll be on a controller as well, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes about it.
Yep, definitely. And
Right.
we're watching everybody on the grid now. I think they're all doing their final setups as the lights are about to come on. I can imagine these guys are super tense about this race now. The last one was super close. All of them want to win this race,
And we're off,
it's
we're
off.
off.
But really poor start there by Aditya.
They're pretty much 4 wide into turn 1, now 3 wide as the ancient pleb does lose out on that.
Yep, that's
Yeah, I
had a
think
great
it's not.
start
Yeah,
there.
he's I think come from
Comes right
P3
around.
on the grid.
And that's
Yep.
I think that's Ravi in second, is it? Ravi's moved up to second from fourth.
Yep, Ravi's had a good
off
start
the
as
line
well,
was
so-
quick.
The two guys from the second row have eaten up the guys in the front row
Yeah,
and running first and second now.
Yeah, the ancient pleb did fall down to P5. He's dropped 4 positions in the
Ravi's
first few
gonna hold it
corners.
around the outside.
Oh,
He's trying to
yeah.
go around the outside now. It's long left
He's
hand.
trying to stay on the outside. No,
Yeah,
it's-
but in that, I don't know if you guys saw, but the ancient pleb went down 2 cars on the previous corner and went from 5th to 3rd, but he's just fallen back all of a sudden again. I don't know what happened from there.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I think when you're in a pack of cars like this, you can see
Look at
how.
him dancing on the car there.
Yeah, and you can see while he's doing all that, Tariq's actually opening up his lead, and we saw Ravi do that last time while everybody was fighting.
Yeah, there's even
Ravi
3
opened the
wide
lead.
into that happen almost.
Oh, it's a lot of guys going together, and that's Aditya and Rupesh fighting each other going into the hairpin there. But
Yeah.
Rupesh managing to hold him off for the exit.
At this point, I would love to see this race with strong slipstream. I just want to see how much more interesting could you even make this. It's already interesting enough, and strong slipstream would just take it to another level. And there's contact,
Oh,
and
Akshay,
Akshay's
I
thing.
think Akshay spun.
Yeah, he's at a half spin.
Yeah. I don't think Ravi made contact with him. I think Akshay had lost the rear. I'm not sure what
Yeah,
exactly happened.
he cooked it, had lost the rear, and then they just touched. They just had some contact,
Yeah,
side by side contact, which is fine.
If there was contact, we will see it on the WhatsApp group later today. So stay tuned.
But it looks like Rupesh has made merry and he's up into
But again,
now. He's managed to open a gap to Aditya Raghav as well.
another point to note is again, have you noticed how Aditya has just lost it again after starting on pole, and he's just fallen down again, and then he takes a couple of laps to get that rhythm going, and then does a recovery drive and then comes back to that podium slot. But again, it's a win that's gone down the drain, really, which you've seen happen not once but on many occasions in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and in fact, I thought it was really unfortunate last week, maybe because of the slipstream, but maybe it's not the slipstream.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other factors playing against him, and he seems to be losing out to it. But while we were speaking there, I did see Ravi try to make a move on Tariq, but no, Ravi's still in second place, Tariq's still in the lead, and Rupesh
They're all
is
bunched up. They're all
right
bunched
there.
up.
I do
Yeah,
see
Rupesh
a
is
lot
still
of
right
drivers making quite a lot of mistakes. So I'm just wondering on as to how hard these drivers are finding to make these cars go as quick as they are, and how hard is it to try to keep it on track. Because I really haven't played this game, so it definitely clicks onto my mind saying like these guys are making so many mistakes and are still that fast. Wonder what they would do if every lap was very clean. But we just saw Akshay having a 4 tenths of penalty, so that is something that would again affect him after that incident earlier.
Yeah, I'm sure Akshay's affected. But yeah, to answer your question, I can tell you it's not easy to be consistent in this game, and especially when you're going this fast. I don't know. There must be some technique. Maybe we'll find it, but it's not easy. And for them to not make mistakes while driving at the limit the way they are, it's really difficult. So kudos to all the drivers for being able to pull off what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maximum of
I
that
mean,
goes probably to the race winner because he's managed to keep it clean all around mostly, and make sure that he is on track, keep it clean, completely stay that bit more consistent than the others, and make it through.
no, for sure,
Yeah.
but for sure, but like Al just said, the pace that they're carrying is phenomenal. I mean, I basically just dabbled with it just while as I was downloading, and yeah, it's a very strange driving style, and I think you need to do a lot of laps to just figure out how to do 10 laps without like what should be the ideal way to drive a car where you can do 10 laps within a couple of tenths. I think that's gonna take a lot of laps to get used to that with this game. At least
Yeah,
my
and
understanding.
while we've been distracted talking about everybody's driving, we've got Aditya now hounding Ravi for second place, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get it. So it looks like Ravi's got a penalty. I think he's cut the circuit somewhere, and he has a
Oh yeah,
1.5 second penalty. So this gives
which is why he gave up
advantage
the place. He gave
Aditya.
up the place.
Yeah, and he's going to try and get the slipstream, and probably then back off his pace. And there must be some kind of technique to get rid of this penalty, but no, he hasn't. He's still holding on to the 1.4 second.
Yeah,
But
he's gonna
that
have
puts
to drop back. He's gonna have to drop back as early as possible, so he has the rest of the race to cover it up. Rather than try and battle it out and wait for the end of the race because I mean I think he's just going to be stuck in this battle for the entire race. Really, it's not
Yeah,
like
but
he
if I'm not wrong, even you do lose a little small amounts of time in this game as you start battling. So that might be something that he can look forward to. He does have 6 laps, including this one, to do that. So he's got quite some time in his hand. But if he can manage to get into a hard battle for P2 with Aditya, then I'm pretty sure that he should be able to get off with that time if the game does allow that.
Yeah, but don't forget we've got pit stops as well. So all these guys who are holding on to penalties have the pit stops to hopefully try and take advantage of. But again, I think being a game, the pit stops are pretty much exactly the same for everyone. You
there are
don't
quite a
really
few.
gain or lose much.
There are quite a few cars that have penalties. Starting with Ravi, if you just go down the field, there are quite a few of them who've got a couple second penalty
Yeah,
hovering over them.
Ravi's got
So,
Yeah, I guess.
1.4, Glenn's got
well,
half
Tariq runs
second.
wide there. Tariq runs wide there, and this given Aditya an opportunity to go on the outside.
Oh, and Tariq's
He's
also
done
got a
it.
penalty while running wide.
Yeah, that's just gifted
Yeah.
the win to Aditya. Oh.
Oh, he's trying to go into the pit. He didn't see Aditya on his inside and he tried to dive in the pit. So all the guys with the penalties have dived into the pit, I think. Not
Yeah.
too many on track. But this gives a clean track for Aditya to try
Glenn
and...
stayed out. Glenn stayed out.
Yeah, Glenn
Um,
stayed out.
Yeah,
And a few
Aditya
others have
Bakshi
stayed,
also
but
stayed out. He did have a good strategy. Even though he did finish P4, I don't really know what exactly happened. He did fall down quite quickly in the last couple of laps. So it'll be interesting to see as to what his strategy is. But you can see that Tariq has now lost a little bit of time on his penalty after that pit stop.
but Ravi hasn't. Ravi's still holding on to 1.4 seconds, so he does have to slow down.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what
he's got
the
the-
game does if they don't slow down.
but he's got the warning sign again saying slow down. So I'm sure he's getting an indicator on his screen. As you can see, Tariq has still got a penalty, but I mean not as much as significant as Ravi's, obviously. But I'm sure these guys must have a plan as to when they would like to, when they're gonna back off or try and get rid of it.
Yeah, and to answer Aditya's question, if I'm not wrong, I did see one of the drivers cross the line with, I believe it was a .2 of a second penalty, and I believe that was added on to the final results because he did finish side by side with another driver. So, and he did finish behind the other driver. So, if I'm not wrong, then it does add on to the final results.
Here we have
Yeah,
the
pretty sure
leader
it adds
going
to
to
the
the pits.
result.
We have Aditya
And-
coming into the pits. I
Yep.
really hope he gets this win because I mean, just going on pace wise and the way he's come back in this race, he really does deserve it. So let's hope he can he managed to hold on to the lead while coming out of the pits and has a clean end to it, really.
Yeah, and hopefully we get to see some great racing to the finish as well. And it's a long pit stop.
Yeah, I think he was refueling himself in that pit stop, and he has lost some time to Tariq, but
Yeah,
then Tariq still has
he's
a 1 second penalty, as just has lost
yeah,
second
but
You have
position.
Ravi who has
also
gone past him.
yeah also puts him behind Ravi. Ravi does have the penalty, but it's going to put a lot of pressure now on Aditya.
But remember, he's got pressure on him as well. He's got the AMG right
Yeah.
behind him.
Plus, he's come out of the pit just now, so he should be having a little more cold tires and the drivers around him.
Yeah, it's going to take him, I think, half a lap to get his tires up to temp. But we've seen that once he gets everything moving, he's really quick, and it's really hard to slow him down. But again, Tariq's got a bit of a penalty up front, and it's a safe time for Tariq to actually back off and serve his penalty. Because if he waits too long, he's going to have Aditya right behind him, and that's not going to be ideal for him to then serve his penalty.
Yeah, Ravi's also just lost just one more tenth. He's dropped down to 1.5. I don't really know how much penalty is still there on Tariq, but definitely I think we did see around 1 second, so he does have a good window right now to do that. And there he is.
Yes,
He's just got 8 tenths right now on him. So I believe he has a gap of 3 seconds to Aditya behind. Or is that
that's Ravi
yeah,
behind.
okay,
He
I got
has a
it. That's Ravi
3 second gap
behind.
to Ravi.
So you can back off now, really. I mean, I think even Ravi has only got a 0.9.
Ravi is slyly serving his penalty,
Yeah,
holding Aditya Raghav behind him. So I think every time he's getting the chance, he's just backing off and slowing everybody behind him down.
I think he's just using the size of the GTR where he just backs off in the corners and no one can get past him and then muscles it down the straight,
Yeah.
Some shady driving there by Ravi. But it's interesting to see these different strategies drivers use. I'm sure it's frustrating for a driver behind to have a car slow down in front of you and watch that penalty time get washed away. Ooh, he started down the inside. Oh no, he couldn't make it at the
Fair play to Ravi. He did.
though.
Yeah, fair play to Ravi. He did try to give some more room to Aditya, but then he couldn't make it side by side, so he eventually cut him out.
I mean, this is when Aditya's really going to have to hold his nerve and not just see red mist in front of him, and do something.
Yeah, but you've got to remember he's got somebody hounding him from behind also. He can't just sit there and wait for too long because Shamim is going to pounce. And Shamim's not going to sit quietly there because Shamim's got his friend Ravi in front, and you can see Ravi's penalties now come down to 0.6. He's just slowly washing that penalty away while keeping Aditya behind him.
Yeah, you can see on the minimap as well that Tariq has started to build up that lead. There is quite a gap between them. But I still want to know if he served his penalty as well.
Yeah, we saw somebody planting it in the wall there just behind these guys. Not sure who that was, but big one.
So, yeah. Ravi, okay, so he's still at 0.6. He's still at 0.6.
Shamim's in the pit. But Ravi, if you look at him.
I'm just trying, okay, so Tariq's come down to 0.3.
No, it's 0.8.
I was talking about he runs wide.
Yeah, it's 0.8 for Tariq, but Ravi, on the other hand, has had Aditya behind him the whole time and brought his penalty down from 1.4 to 0.6. So, interesting the way he's able to do it without losing that place.
Yeah, I believe the one hairpin that is there, the tight hairpin, but as you just said that, commentator's curse, I see.
It happened way too many times over the last couple of weekends where we say something and as soon as we say it, the opposite happens.
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
But we did
say what you want.
Yeah, the next corner that they're approaching is that tight hairpin that I was talking about. Is where Aditya has the opportunity of slowing it down. And we are now on a replay of the move that Aditya made on Ravi.
Yeah, Ravi's still trying to do what he can, but he's got his penalty down to 0.2. We've got 2 laps to go, but now he's being hounded by Ankur, who's right behind him. Yeah, and that's just given Aditya the chance to move ahead.
But he's also brought his penalty down to 0.2. So maybe now we can start pushing just as soon as he gets rid of it. Someone's just gone to the pits, I
I
think.
think that's Tariq. No,
Is
yeah,
it
that's Tariq.
Tariq? Yeah, that is Tariq. But Tariq already made his stop. Why would
No,
he
it
miss?
looks like he's
Did he
underfueled
make?
himself.
Yeah, he did underfuel himself. What? Oh, that's a
Oh,
big mistake there to
big
have
miscalculation there by Tariq.
two stops
And
in a 10 lap race. Yeah, that is a huge miscalculation. That's
and
lost him a lot.
look who's back in the lead.
Yeah, deserving lead though. I'm
Deserving,
not going to say deserving win yet. Going to wait for him to cross the finish line
deserving
first.
lead.
But you still said
Well
it, so
deserved lead.
let's see.
But in all that, Ravi's lost another place and now he's in third. I can see the frustration on Ravi's driving as well. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he's not happy to be there. But again, Tariq's in big trouble. He's got the penalty as well to serve.
That's true.
He didn't serve the penalty when he had the lead. He had to stop. Oh man, it's really turned out to be a disaster for him.
Yeah, what's actually interesting to see is that Akshay is down in P6, even after having the pace of being on pole for race one, and I believe he was P2 for this race, and he just lost out in the race.
Yeah, he seems to. Every now and then you see him having some trouble in the race. But last week he had some. He had 3 out of 4 flawless races. But he seems to be struggling this time around. But let's see. Maybe he will get his form back by tomorrow.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
never know. He's got almost 24 hours, and these guys don't sleep. They just keep playing, keep practicing. So don't count them out until tomorrow's over. Oh, that's
Ooh,
someone
who's
off
that?
there.
That's
Rupesh,
Rupesh.
that's
Yeah,
Rupesh.
Rupesh.
Rupesh had a little spin there. But it's the last lap of the race, and we've got Aditya Raghav still in the lead. We've got Ankur in second and Ravi in third. Ravi served his penalty, so I'm pretty sure he's going to try and charge on the last lap. But while we say that, you can just see him plowing through that corner full of understeer.
Yeah, if you look at the front wheels of Ravi while he's turning, you can just see the amount of log he's putting without actually seeing the amount of log. And
Oh,
Yes, insane amount of
on
log.
the edge, on the edge as we speak. But it's still a good couple of points that he scored over 2 races. So I'm sure he'll be looking forward to going into tomorrow. I think in a very comfortable position towards the sharp end of the leaderboard.
I'm sure he's not giving up. He wants that second place because it's more points for him at the end of the day. Because he knows Aditya Raghav has the fastest lap. It's probably showing up on his screen. So which means it's an
He's
extra
got to be
point.
careful not to cut the corners though, and get one more penalty before the checkered flag. As you can see him just cutting through
Ooh,
that
yeah,
chicane there.
that was a big cut across the chicane there,
Yeah.
but it doesn't look like he's received a penalty for it. But it
yeah,
seems
but,
like the top
They
three
closed
are
the gap.
bunching up again.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah,
closed the gap quite a bit. He's Aditya Raghav slowed down a lot. I don't know what happened, whether he made a mistake or what. But anyway, they're coming down to the end of the laps soon. They've just got a couple of corners to go.
yeah,
The
they're
last
all
corner
three
there
really
up ahead of
spread
them.
out.
So photo finish it's going to be, isn't it?
Hopefully.
No, it looks like easy job there for Aditya, followed by Ankur in second and Ravi in third. Good
Well,
job overall by Ravi to collect all those points.
that was a fairly entertaining race as well. With the leader, pole sitter Aditya starting on pole but losing out at the start, dropping down to the mid pack and coming back. Eventually Ravi having a strong start, but unfortunately penalty. But still, gaining that podium position while getting rid of the penalty.
No, but then while
Uh,
talking about Ravi, he did finish P6. He's just completely slowed down on the main straight.
Oh yeah, you're right. He completely slowed down. I don't know what happened there.
that was a good call, Saul, because we're not sure. We assumed he got rid of his penalty there.
Yes, I
Right.
think I've just received a message saying that he did run out of fuel on the line.
Oh man, I can't believe he ran out of fuel on the line. That's unbelievable.
Wow.
That's really bad luck. That's great. So who finished third? I think it was Glenn finally who finished third.
Yes,
But all in all, I think great racing there,
yeah,
guys.
yeah, we'll just
It
have to
was
try
Glenn,
to
right?
find the result.
Yeah, it's Glenn who finished third.
Okay, that's good to see then. Then he did have a poor start and was fighting for, I believe, P5 for most of the race, and then to come up and finish third eventually is not a bad result.
Yeah, it wasn't the strongest start for Glenn, but he chipped away, and finally got the podium finish.
Yeah, he did make the right calls on his fuel and his pit stops to get him there.
Anyway,
But I'm
guys,
pretty sure there was a bit of a scare for Aditya Raghav, but great racing.
but thanks for tuning in. We're here with Aditya Patel and Soil Shah. and we're going to be back here tomorrow, same time. So do join us tomorrow night at 10 p.m. for some more action and some more great racing. Have a great night and look forward to speaking to you all tomorrow.